am back in my room. Woo, 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 yeah. I was going to do a video about fairy tales and how the original ones are much more gruesome and much darker than the ones we know from Disney or kids' books. But I was searching the internet for all of the original versions of fairy tales that I know, and I came across Rumpelstiltskin, which I always liked until I read it again and realised just how stupid it was. A miller wants his daughter to marry the king, so he tells the king that his daughter can spin straw into gold. Now, first of all, if you're gonna lie to someone to impress them, at least make it feasible. Why couldn't the miller just have told the king that his daughter was really fit? So anyway, the king locks the miller's daughter in a tower with loads of straw and a spinning wheel and says, if you don't spin all of this straw into gold by the morning, I'm gonna lop your head off. So obviously, she gets a bit upset because that's something that no one can do, but Rumpelstiltskin appears and says, I will do it for you if you give me something nice. And she says, I'll give you my necklace. And he says, I'll do that. So he spins all the straw into gold, and the next morning the king's like, wicked, but let's see if you can do it again. She's done it once, she's proved she can do it, why make her do it again? That's ridiculous. And again, she gets upset because she can't do it, and Rumpelstiltskin appears and says, I'll do it for you, but what will you give me? And she says, I've got a ring, do you fancy that? He says, that'd be lovely. He spins all the straw into gold, and the king's like, well, hey, that's great, but can you do it again? For some reason, because twice just isn't enough. So again, she gets upset, Rumpelstiltskin appears, and he says, what will you give me? But she's like, I have nothing left to give. So he says, how about if you become queen, give me a firstborn child? That's a bit extreme, isn't it? You had a necklace and a ring before. How does a child come next in that sequence? But she agrees because she doesn't want to be killed, obviously. And she just thinks, I might not even have kids. So, you know, yeah, you can have my firstborn child, sure. And so the king's really impressed that she's managed to turn all this straw into gold 3 nights in a row, and he marries her. Now, if you've promised someone your firstborn child, if it was me, I would make sure I never had kids. But this woman decides a year later to have a kid. I don't know if she thought that the promise that she'd made to Rumpelstiltskin just went away, but it didn't. Rumpelstiltskin appeared and says, give me a kid. And she says no. You've made a promise, love. You can't just say no now. That's not how it works. Rumpelstiltskin, being a pushover, doesn't demand the child. He just says, well, I'll give you a chance. If you can guess my name within 3 days, we'll call it off. So she gets a messenger to go and ask all of the town their names so she can have more of a range of names to guess from. Now this is the bit that really gets me. This really, it just annoys me because this is so ridiculous. The messenger finds Rumpelstiltskin dancing round a fire and singing a song about how his name is Rumpelstiltskin. What? Why would you do that? If you've made it a challenge for someone to guess your name, surely you'd want to keep that quite close to your chest, would you not? So obviously then the messenger tells the queen, she guesses his name, and he gets proper annoyed. All I learned from that story is A, don't let people go back on their promises, and B, if you've made it a task to get someone to guess your name, don't turn it into a sing-along.